I'm Shira. I'm 20 from Or Yehuda, Israel. I got released. Like I finished my service on end of April. I was head of education, Mashakit Chinuch. My job was um, getting soldiers to do full bagrut, to do full 12 years of
12 years of study of education.
Yeah, so 12 years of study, getting them out to Taglit, celebrate the holidays, doing trips, activities, Yemei Tarbut Aleph, which is like going to some educational stuff, museums or plays. So some of them has some of them have the option um, to get their bagrut full because they didn't do it in high school. So the army gave them an option. They get sort of like not a vacation, but they're not doing their job while they're in the course of the bagrut. But the army has interest of getting his soldier better citizens when they come out to Israel as citizens. It shows in many ways. Sometimes there are soldiers that are not really, they're not really like fit the army, but the army still take them because he wants them to be better. So like all kinds of teenagers with like files in police or all sorts of problem that the army take and like take care of them, give them home, even like pay them money to be independent and give them like a sack of morals and values. At first, when like the war began, all my friends, okay, so I served in Telim. It's like not in the strip of Gaza, but it's like very, very close. So all my friends were guides for something like that. They guided warriors and like combat soldiers from all units, and I didn't know anything about it, and I did not train to be a combat soldier at any kind, and I was only like in charge of making the soldiers happy and give them a good time, comic relief, yeah, and smile and fun. So that was my job through the whole service. And when the war started, I felt like unnecessary at the beginning, and then I realized that I'm like needed the most. So I started to do all kinds of activities that will give them a bit of joy and the comic relief, of course. Many artists volunteered to come to Tselim, and comedians, and I brought some like courses and activities like acrobalance and we did like activities for the holidays and for Shabbat. All of a sudden we closed together the Shabbat, so we did things for Shabbat like a musical Kabbalat Shabbat, and those kind of things, and that was my part. So I was not I didn't fight anyone, but I was like the person in the unit that gave them a bit of like time to breathe and to be happy with their friends. That was also really important because they were really tired from all their work. At the beginning of the war, we received like my base and my unit received like a massive, really like it's like a whole trunk, a whole how do you say masait?
Like a yeah, truck.
So a whole trucks of hygiene products and food and snacks and clothes and really whatever you want. We literally like opened a small like a canteen with all the trumot,
With all the donations.
with all the donations that we get. Um, So it was helpful, but at some point that was like way too much. But I think that like I said, mentally it helped us because we really felt the support from Israel, and that warmed our heart, and that gave us like the power to continue, and that was really 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 excited and heartwarming. So my friend who was in the army with me, he was in Ramanayak last year, and from a very like close, shy, not very social guy, he really pushed himself to the edge, and did like a big trip in South America after the camp and met all his friends, and he really described it as like the best thing that ever happened to him, and really recommended me to do it too. So I got his like this idea from him, and then I started the process of like getting in. I think in even before January. Yeah, it was about, I would say, December. I didn't really like think of the Jewish part. Um, it's not. I won't say it's like the main thing here. It's a big thing, a big subject that we like revolve. And sometimes it makes you feel like home, and makes you like feel like you're in Israel, and sometimes, well, like for me, when it comes to more religious parts, then it's harder for me. Um, but other than that, I mean, I think it's pretty much what I expected. So I'm putting like how to say, like the spotlight, I would say, about teaching the kids facts about the war, and I want them to know what is happening in our eyes and not from their media eyes. And I'm very afraid that some of them are affected by the media or by the protests that like that revolves them. So just giving them tools to handle it, and to handle anti-Semitism, and to give them um, belief with who they are, and give them confidence being Jewish.
That's exactly the words that I was using yesterday when I was talking to Tom. That's exactly how I put it. Like giving them confidence being Jewish, because we're in Israel. It's like the war zone, but at least
We're surrounded
we're
by,
surrounded.
yeah.
And here, I mean, I know what it's like growing up. Have they ever shared with you like what age are you in? Like, Mahon, you said.
Mahon,
So they
yeah.
are already older. Did you hear anything from them about like moments of discomfort this year?
Yeah, definitely. I have. When they told me, they also treated it as like something that they experience on a daily basis, regardless the war, like things that happened before the war and just continued. Some situations that kind of like escalated because of the war. But when they told me, they did not even sound traumatized. They were like, they sounded very used to this situation. So that was the sad part. The part where like we all think that just this is the way it is, and it's not changeable, and we just accept it as it is, like it's normal. And that breaks my heart when they like, some of them go to public school, and some of them are telling me about the protests that they see around their neighborhood or around their school. Staff also, like a lot of counselors that go to universities, are also experience it, which is devastating. So I don't think that there are many of them who think that Israel is doing wrong. I actually believe the opposite way around. Um, and about the anti-Semitism, it's just like something that always was like it goes with us for decades and generations now, and it might not go away. I mean, I'm looking at the situation now, and you can't not compare it to the Holocaust, although I mean, it's a whole different thing, obviously, and the Holocaust, many, like millions were murdered and not thousands, but like in the core of it, the principle of like wanting to kill us and like just hating us because we're Jews. And I'm not talking even about Hamas right now. I'm talking about like people all over the world that can see a Jew in the street and just like they think they have the right to beat him up just because he's wearing a kippah, or not letting him in their restaurant or whatever. I'm looking at it and I can't believe that it's happening right now and that we're not in like the 30s. And so you think that the world has made some progress, that it has learned its lesson, and when you realize that it didn't, it was it was shocking to me. It still is, because I will never accept the fact that people just hate us for being Jews, because I don't understand it.
Because now they have another reason, because we're being oppressors. Now there's even more of a reason.
And the Americans are not oppressors, and the British are not oppressors. Everyone is oppressor. This is how the world works. Okay, you come and like the more powerful like country just takes over and concord and like they have a fight, someone wins. This is just how it goes. um so it's completely hypocrite to not acknowledge the fact, for example, that you concord many people as well as Americans, but when it comes to Israel, suddenly it's not okay and it's wrong, and we don't have the right to protect ourselves. And it's just like completely dismissing the fact that they murder us every day on the streets, like in Jerusalem and then in the West Bank, and sometimes like in Tel Aviv even it happened, and near Gaza, and they invading us, and the north is in danger, and all of the south, and like we're not really safe, even though we have our own country and we have the right to exist, and nobody acknowledge it, and that's frustrating. Actually, when I talk to them about this, I always say, like, please use this information in conversations, discussions, like arguments that you bump into your close friends. I'm sure you have lots of like Christians friends, or even Jews that are pro the other side. And I really wanted to, like, I wanted them to use the things that I'm saying in order to have bigger influence on their environment. That was the point of it. But I would also understand if it's not gonna happen, because it's very scary. Like, it's very scary. I don't know what I would do if I were them. I probably would not go into a pro-Palestine protest and then try to convince other people. But I think that every one of us can do like his own part with like his very own close environment. Try to not convince or make them see the thing from another point of view, from another perspective. Try to a little bit understand the facts on our side, and most of them are just like ignorant, and really they don't want to hear anything beside their side, and they're not acknowledging the facts, and they just believe everything that the media would tell them. And the thing is that it became a trend, and that's the most like fucked up thing, because this war, not only it happens in the field of like Gaza and our land, or wherever in the north or whatever, it also like happening in the field of like media and Instagram, and it became like a trend to support or not support, or like it's none of your business. Like, seriously, it's none of your business. You don't live here, so you don't get to choose. You don't get to have opinion about this. Like, I don't get to have opinion about what happens in Ukraine or Russia, because I don't know the history, and it's not my land, and it's not my people, and I don't like.
You'd have to study a lot. But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
could,
exactly. And you don't study and you have no idea. You just see like parts of things, and then you think you're like collecting um, a point of view that seems like, but you're not really exploring the truth because it's too hard for you to accept that there are things that you've been lied about. But like seeing them repeat all sorts of like um, stupid sentences that they don't even know what they're talking about, and like they've been brainwashed in a way that it's terrifying. Like I sometimes terrify I get scared more about this situation than the situation in Gaza, because you have no control of it, and like when it's such an like in a such a large scale, when it's around the world and you've been brainwashed and it's like too big to stop, then I was also brainwashed by the media that we are hated all around the world. And so like every other Israeli, I was a bit scared to like go outside. And like before I got here, then my family was very worried about me, and they're like, don't go to Subway, don't like hang out in New York, it's very dangerous, like don't put any symbol that will show that you're Israeli. And but when I hang out outside, I put my hostage pin and my hostage bracelet and the skeet necklace, and I wear it proudly. And when people ask me if like where am I from, I will always say proudly that I'm from Israel. And so far, I didn't even get one negative um, reaction for that. I always got like, oh my god, I'm so sorry for like what's happening, and like it must be so difficult. People were really either they did not care, like it didn't even, oh okay, cool, or they were really empathizing, but with me. Like I think that they realized I was a Jew. I don't think they like thought I was Palestinian. But yeah, so like we all get affected by the media. I'm very surprised to see like the Americans keeping the culture and the traditions so alive. Did not expect that. They know how to read from the Torah better than me, and they know all the tefillot, and they know like how to read Hebrew. They don't really speak it, but like
they say Hadar and
yeah. Um, so I think they're really trying. They're still Americans, but I think it's charming to see that the like the Judaism is not dead, even if it's not in Israel. This is something that I didn't know. I didn't know that like being Jewish is such a strong identity in these kids. I think it's like it's a lot of spirit that sometimes you can't really explain. It's in the way that we like talk to each other, in the way we're dealing with things, her sensitivity, I think, the solidarity. Um, I would say that there are many things that are very similar in the same groups, but they're not similar to each other. Like, for example, like they as a group can be very like united and like they have solidarity, and we have it too, but in a completely different way. That's like it's some kind of idea. Basically, you have to be here to understand. There will be things that only us can understand, and only like people that live in Israel can really say these dots.
identify with.
Yeah, to identify with. And I must say, I did not think that I will miss Israel so much, but having like my Israeli friends here really remind me of home. And sometimes I find myself like needing it after being with like Americans all day. I find myself like really needing it, like air to breathe. At the end of the day, like needing to hear Hebrew and need this with this like group of people that will love you and like accept you, and you feel like one of them.